And after that, in September 2016, we saw the United Nations ending what I would describe as its half century of silence over Kashmir. So in September 2016, then UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Prince Zaid Ra'ad al-Hussein, included Kashmir in the list of urgent issues that the UN at that time was looking at, including, of course, Syria and Iraq and Rohingyas in Myanmar and other conflict and Ukraine. So it was a big deal for Kashmir, which was neglected for over half a century, to be all of a sudden listed alongside those very urgent issues that the world media was actually focused on. So, and that's when, after that, we saw the early signs of a change and a shift in the way the international media covered Kashmir. And we saw what the mainstream media, we could call it the establishment media in major important countries of the world, begin to speak about Kashmir and discuss Kashmir and mention India in a context that we have not seen for, I would say, for at least even 40 or 50 years. So it was a big deal. And we saw this changes. We in Pakistan, I would say, we're late to catch up. I know that we have the first thing that you'd expect from most even government officials, most activists and commentators when discussing Kashmir, the first two lines that we hear is why the world is not listening, why the world is not hearing, and why the world is not paying attention. But the fact is, we were busy in our very important domestic politics, corruption cases, Panama Papers, and so forth, important as they are. But the fact is, a shift on in the global discourse on Kashmir had started with at the start of 2017, and it has solidified and cemented after August 5, 4 months ago. So for many of us, actually, the sort of international media coverage from news organizations such as, for example, the Daily Telegraph in Britain or the New York Times, the Washington Post, and others, were things that might have surprised many after August 5, but they were not surprising for many of us who were working actually closely with the UN system and saw these changes. So there is a shift. We need to recognize that shift. The shift has happened. Our old language, how we approach the Kashmir conflict, the world must intervene, the world must talk about Kashmir, the silence must end. I think these lines have become outdated. We need a new discourse and a new narrative on Kashmir, because frankly speaking, you have the US Congress holding two sessions and hearings on Kashmir in the past 6 weeks, whereas none has been held in the Pakistani parliament over the same period. And you have much better international media coverage on Kashmir in the international media, and specifically in the Western media, and even in Japan and Russia today and Russia, than we have, frankly, in the Pakistani media. So the discourse has changed. Things are changing. We have the US president mentioning Kashmir 5 or 6 times, which has not happened before. It may not be a big deal. It may not so far has led to any solution, but it's a major change. It's a major shift. It shows that Kashmir is an international conflict. So you have these changes, and I conclude with this point that we need a change in our discourse. We need a change in our language. I think we need to also appreciate the fact whatever shift or change the world has made in Kashmir, we need to appreciate it. I think there's a lot of despondency in the Pakistani discourse, both official and private, with regards to, so what if OIC issued a statement, or what if the US president issued a statement, and so what if the New York Times has published, let's say, 36 news reports in a month. I think we need a change in the discourse, and it's very important because, and we need to also recognize the contribution that has begun to come from the international community, and we need to push it forward. Of course, not be too bitter, not be too angry. Yes, we need to show our frustration, but we need to take the world along, because after all, any conflict resolution in Kashmir will eventually involve the world. Thank you.